Hello, everybody. We are now going to start our unit on the cardiovascular system. And we're going to be looking at the cardiovascular system for the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to start with an overview of the cardiovascular system. So first, I just want to pose this question to you. I want you to just kind of pause and think for a few seconds. What is the function of the cardiovascular system? So, what do you remember from elsewhere in your life about what the cardiovascular system does? So, just think about that for a second. Okay, so hopefully you came up with something like this. Basically, the function of the cardiovascular system is to transport materials from one part of the body to another. So this table kind of shows some of those materials and how the cardiovascular system transports them. For instance, we have materials that enter the body at one entry point, such as oxygen or nutrients. So oxygen from the lungs or nutrients from our intestinal tract. But every cell in the body needs access to those nutrients. So we need to transport them to every cell in the body. Likewise, we have metabolic wastes, carbon dioxide being made by every cell in the body. And those need to be transported to the individual locations in the body where we can unload them from our body. So kidneys, skin, lungs, okay? And we have materials being moved from cell to cell within the body, okay? So the cardiovascular system does the job of doing this transport, okay? I also just want to put in a plug here. I encourage you to watch that Bloodmobile video that I posted on the Canvas page. It's just kind of a fun video, but it's kind of a more fun way of summarizing this same information. Okay, so we just talked about how the cardiovascular system is responsible for transporting materials from one part of the body to another part of the body. We do that using blood, right? So blood is the substance that carries those materials, and the blood is carried in these tubes called blood vessels. So I'm going to introduce you to the blood vessels here. Okay, first, we have the arteries. The arteries are going to be carrying blood away from the heart, okay? I just want to make a point here that this is regardless of whether the blood is oxygenated or not, okay? If the blood vessel is carrying blood away from the heart, it is an artery. So we do have arteries that carry deoxygenated blood, okay? Veins carry blood to the heart. Okay, so we have veins right here carrying blood to the heart. Again, that is regardless of oxygenation level, okay? And then capillaries are the site of the materials exchange. So the capillaries are where we're actually going to exchange material between the blood and the surrounding cells. So all of this, the arteries, the veins, and then the other two types that I'm going to tell you about in just a second, that's just to get the blood to the capillaries and back to the heart. But the capillaries are where the action happens, where the actual materials exchange happens. Okay, so in addition to the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries, we have these sort of intermediate blood vessel types as well. I guess they are not labeled in this figure, but we have the arterioles, which occur right here between the arteries and the capillaries. Okay, and then we have the venules, which carry blood between the capillaries and the veins. So they would be right here. Okay. We have one-way flow of blood through the system as indicated by these arrows here. We have valves in the heart and also in the veins that help to prevent backflow of blood in the system. Okay, so we can think of the cardiovascular system as consisting of two main circuits. The first is the pulmonary circuit. So that's the circuit that's going to carry blood to the lungs and then back to the heart. So from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart. That is the pulmonary circuit. Everything else is referred to as the systemic circuit. So we're going to carry blood from the heart to the various parts of the body and then back to the heart again. Okay. One thing that I want to point out here is notice that it is a bunch of parallel circuits, right? So we go from the heart to the arms, for instance, and then back to the heart. We go from the heart to the head and the brain, and then back to the heart. It is not the case that we go, for instance, from the heart to the arms, and then to the head and the brain, and then the legs, and then back to the heart. It just goes to kind of one destination, and back to the heart. Okay. In addition to like sort of these standard systemic circuits, we have what are called portal systems. And I think I'm going to address this in this slide here. So what is a portal system? So in most systemic circuits, we have blood going from the heart to one destination, right? One capillary bed at that destination, and then back to the heart. So that's what we have happening here with the trunk. That's what we have happening here with the pelvis and the legs. However, in a portal system, that's a very specialized systemic circuit in which we have two capillary beds that the blood encounters before returning to the heart. So if we look at this one right here, we've got the blood going to the digestive tract with a capillary bed there. And then it goes to another capillary bed in the liver before returning to the heart. And then same down here, we have a portal system in the kidneys. I would like to point out to you that you actually have already seen a portal system in the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary. That has this special name, the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system. Don't worry about the name, but it is a portal system. So I'd like you to take a moment right now to look at this portal system and see if you can identify the first capillary bed in the system and the second capillary bed in the system. So just kind of take a moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first capillary bed in the system. I guess I should have mentioned this before, but I guess you also should know this. The blood is coming from this artery here. It's going to encounter the hypothalamus first. So we have this capillary bed. And then those capillaries are going to converge into these what are called portal veins. And then they're going to diverge again to give you your second capillary bed here in the anterior pituitary. All right, so that is a portal system. We have 3 portal systems in the body. The first one is this one that we just talked about. The second one is the one that I showed you on the previous slide, where you have one capillary bed in the digestive tract and then the second in the liver. And then the third portal system is in the kidneys. So it's actually 2 separate capillary beds, both within the kidneys. And we will be seeing that when we study the kidneys.